how do you actually find grants that are a good fit? Isn't that the $1,000,000 question, right? There's 2 ways to really look at grants. There is the individual, like me as an individual, and there's also on the project level, the things that I create. So, me as an individual, I'm a Black woman, I am a mom, I am a podcast producer, podcast host, writer, author. These are all the things that I am, which means that I can qualify and I could position myself for all of those types of grants. But then there's on the project level, which is another layer, is like the things that I produce have its own theme, its own community, its own values, its own like production. So, for example, let's say you are a craft artist. You are a male from Philadelphia who does ironwork. You could be going after male specific creative grants. There could be artist grants in Philadelphia you could go after, right? Because you are based there. And there's again, the iron work that you're doing, that's the craft, you can go after those grants. So I think most creators, we kind of like box ourselves. I feel like we feel like we're open minded, but a lot of times, many creators that I talk to are not open minded. So focus on the crafts. For example, we're like, I'm only looking for podcast grants, or I'm only looking for like artist grants or writing grants. And those typically is just like the tip of the iceberg. Like you only find like this many podcast grants. But when you start thinking about all the things that you encompass, now you start opening up yourself to so many opportunities, which is why when folks hop on like a one-on-one strategy call with me, the first question I ask them is like, let's go through who you are, what you do, who you serve. Those cuz all of those things are layers, and I always believe that no matter what kind of creator you are, there's going to be something on the list for the month that you can apply for. At least one. And you know why I know that? Because when I do my hit submit challenges and I'm in there with folks and we're trying to figure out what grants, there's always something. Oftentimes it's your mindset. Oftentimes it's how you see yourself. You are way more than that little narrow view that you see yourself as. And when you do open yourself up like that, then okay, you could really start thinking outside the box and you see so many more things that are going to inspire you to apply for something. So I have a grant search starter kit that will walk you through my framework that helps you define your creative identity and again helps you get those clarifying questions like get all the things that you are on paper, and then after you have that set, that's when the hardcore finding the research, all of that comes to play. Before you even do any searches, you really need to know you first before you start looking at opportunities because you will definitely miss out on stuff if you're limited. Google has tons of expired grants, tons of grants announcements saying that, oh, these people have won this grant, but it's not open right now. And then there's like things that are so old, a lot of old things that you'll find in a Google search. So it's very, very easy for you to waste a lot of time shifting through like tons and tons of opportunities. And you may not even find anything that may be a good fit for you, even if you're really good at researching. Same reason, like if you, let's say you use something like Google Alerts, which I still feel like everyone should have Google Alerts that they set up with their keywords. I have a whole folder of Google Alerts because Google again will just be pinging you with all different types of things. And then you're again shifting through your inbox and you're just like wasting time. Time is money and time is like creativity and vision. We could be like doing so many things with our time, shifting through grants. Nah, I wouldn't recommend it as a search strategy. What I do recommend, though, subscribing to newsletters because the newsletters typically have a very focused lens and they've done all that heavy lifting for you so that all you have to do is sit down. My preferred days are Fridays when things are more chill. I sit down and then you could go through the list and say, yay, nay, 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 moving on. Especially for busy creators, that is my top recommendation. I have some resources for you that you could check out. Again, every newsletter has a different focus. They're serving a different audience, a different person. So you want to find the newsletters that are going to speak to you, find newsletters that are also active because a lot of people get into the grant space and they're like, oh, it's just so easy. I'm just going to start a resource. And then after a couple months, they burn out and they're no longer active. So These are the resources that I really love as a grant finding creator. Like, I go to these and I think that they're fantastic teams behind them. So you have All Here, like hearing. So All Here, this is an audio focused newsletter. They are 100% free. They are committed to just having a free monthly resource all about audio projects and podcasts and audio journalism. So, fantastic resource for that. I really like them because they have not only US, but also international. So the UK, Ireland, abroad. So they have this very global outlook and it's very focused on like audio, anything audio related, definitely All Here. And they're also on Substack. So just search for them on All Here on Substack. You'll find them and let them know that Danielle from Grants for Creators recommended them. If you are in the small business kind of like creative agency space, maybe creative service provider, that sort of thing, creative founder, I definitely would subscribe to For All Things Digital. They are fantastic. I love their branding. It's always so bright. They do such a great job with curating things, especially on Instagram. So if you're kind of scrolling on Instagram and you're looking like, oh, what do they find? Like, they definitely focus on more that small business, creative agency, creative solopreneur space. So definitely recommend For All Things Digital. And again, they've been around for a long time, so they're not stopping anytime soon. Capital Club by Millennial Mogul. This is a fantastic resource if you are a startup founder. Of all the resources, they have the most advanced tech stack. Have a login, create your profile. They have like a free tier and a premium tier as well. So definitely recommend them if you are in that startup founder space. These are all curated resources. You, as a creator, you're not spending time digging through Google searches, which is very time consuming. Like, let us do that. Let us do that kind of work. Then lastly, of course, if you're new here, we have Grants for Creators. That's the resource that I curate. I say a creator is anyone who creates something, whether that's a book, whether that's, a newsletter, or whether that's a podcast, films, like photography. Like, it's a very big broad word because creators wear many hats and we do many things, and our definition is very fluid. So that to me is the space that I love, space that I'm in. Follow newsletters also that are industry specific. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow their newsletters, follow them on social media, because when they find something, guess who they're going to share it with? Their people. So, for example, for podcasting, we have like Pod News, for example. So they do a great job. Like, they get press releases from these organizations that are sharing funding opportunities. So you best believe I do check their emails, and you never know when they're going to just have a little one liner that leads to a pot of money that you could apply for. What are the underrated places to find grant opportunities? And I love underrated. I love low key. So here are some places that I definitely feel like creators are missing out on when they're creating that grant strategy, that fishing net of just being open and expansive. So your local arts councils and humanities councils are amazing. Okay. They are amazing. They typically have pots of money on an annual basis that supports artists, creatives in your local city, in your local state, in your local region. Also, Chamber of Commerce. I'm seeing more having like pitch competitions where they make it an event, right? Like, you got to apply and then you get invited to pitch. And sometimes they even offer training to help you be pitch ready. And then they put on an amazing event. You pitch in front of people on stage. Oh, nerve wracking. I always say underrated, low key, local as you can get. All of them have some pots of money. It may not be often, meaning like, when it comes to grants, we have no control over what comes out. Like, no control. I cannot control what comes out. All I can control is me doing the research to find them. They may come out once a year, once a quarter, maybe once every 5 years. It doesn't matter. You're in the know, right? And then if there's any business associations, foundations, they could be your gold mine. My biggest takeaways are think local, right? So local arts councils, humanity councils, chamber of commerce, think on a local level, have that duality approach where it's like, be specific, right? in terms of your craft and what you're looking for, but also be expansive because words like storyteller and creative and creator are expansive. So count yourself in more than you count yourself out. Ditch the manual search and really focus on grant curation newsletters and joining newsletters in your industry. And if you ever see a funding opportunity that is interesting and it's now closed, still follow them. Still keep in touch with that organizer because you never know when something's going to come out. So, all of those things together is what really makes you a creator that is able to find opportunities, to go after more opportunities. And again, the more you go after, the more chances of winning and the more successful you do become with this long-term game.